So Kamala Harris apparently did an audio town hall with Charlamagne the God in Detroit. So she flew. Okay, so think about this for a minute, y'all. Let's put this in perspective. She flew to Detroit to do an audio town hall hosted by somebody that's not from Detroit, so that she could try to get black men on board in swing states like Detroit after unveiling her economic plan with a sassy man on the Shade Room. Okay. But she did it. I did not listen to it yet because I was very, very busy. I was doing my own interviews. And I do want to let y'all know that make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. I will be on Dr. Phil tonight. Yep. So whatever channel and whatever app Dr. Phil is on, I will be on Dr. Phil tonight. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern. Whatever prime time is, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever Dr. Phil prime time come on. They told me to buckle up. So I guess during the editing process, for whatever they seen, it was something different. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow after I watch it live tonight. But anyways, Kamala Harris decided that she wanted to pull up and do an audio town hall. So I don't want to go through any of the people that stood up and asked questions and stuff like that. I just want to see what she said about the things that Charlamagne, I guess, was asking her, and we'll just go through it, all right? So let's see if we can get anything out of this that's worthy of having a conversation about. Let's see.
Harris, how are you?
Very well, Charlamagne. How you doing?
Listen, we got 20 days and 60 minutes, so we just need to get to it.
I'm with you. Although it's 21 days.
How are you? Because you did just walk in. You was kind of late, so.
Well, I try to be on time. Apparently, I'm 40 seconds late. You're right.
Well, you are black, so okay. Now, now one thing they've been saying. A lot of your press.
Is those the earrings that y'all keep talking about?
Criticized, folk.
Are those the earrings that y'all keep talking about? Because I know that women wear pearl earrings. But I'm just wondering if these are the earrings that y'all keep talking about that she wearing, that she getting audio from somebody else.
So you come off as very scripted. They say you like to stick to your talking points. And some media says you have...
That would be called discipline.
Oh, okay. Speak to that.
But go on.
No, I was going to say some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
Hasn't Maya Rudolph been wonderful?
Yes.
I think I have nothing but admiration for the comedy, and I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself and each other.
But what do you say to people
in the spirit of obviously comedy and not belittling people as my opponent would do?
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
I would say you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election. Mm-hmm. And so it requires repetition. Some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important.
You Dr. Umar Johnson now? Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. My black people. I said my black people. Let me say it one more time. So you understand, overstand, and understand. So now, you're a part of the black Pan-Africanism now. You understand, overstand, and understand. Okay. So listen, let me tell you the truth. It's because they're talking points given to her, not written by her. And she's just speaking what somebody else told her to say, whether it's an aide, whether it was created by lobbyists, whether it was people that's funding her. These are talking points. And so I don't understand why you would think that it's necessary for us to know that you love people's lawns, that you and your sister grew up middle class, and my mother raised us, and she bought a house when we was a teenager, and her friend owned a daycare, and they love us, so I love my middle class business owners. I don't understand why that level of repetition is necessary. If you're making sure that you're repeating policy or things that they need to know so that they can communicate it over to other people to help you to understand or help people to understand why you would be a better candidate for the president of the United States of America, then that's a different conversation. But she word for word has memorized her script, and that's what we see happening every single day.
And for that reason, yes, at my rallies, I say the same thing when I go to Detroit as I do in Philly, as I do wherever I am, to make sure that people hear and receive what I think are some of the most critical issues that are at stake in this election.
There has to be a high level of anxiety, too, when you have these conversations, though, because you are running for president.
I mean, you know what? There's certainly a lot of, I feel the weight of the moment and my role. I feel an extraordinary weight of responsibility right now to do everything I can. I'm telling you, Charlamagne, when I go to bed at night, I almost every night, in addition to my prayers, will ask, have I done everything I could do today?
Prayers to who? Not the way that these Democrats is trying to push stuff that's ungodly on us. Prayers to who? Man, these people are selling y'all an image. They selling y'all a narrative. They not really God-fearing. They are not of God, and God is not with them. I can tell you that right now. They are not of God, and God is not with them.
This is a margin of error race. It's tight. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. But it's tight. And, you know, what is at stake is truly profound and almost and historic, many would say. And it's about, you know, some people would say this lofty notion of supporting and preserving our democracy. Mm-hmm. But it is about real issues that affect people every day, like whether we're going to maintain a $35 cap on insulin for our seniors, whether we're going to continue to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices to bring them down, whether we are going to have, as my opponent would have, a formalized stop and frisk policy, for which he has said if a police department does not do it, they should be defunded or not. There is
cleaned up New York City, that's for sure.
So much at stake. Whether America is going to stand on its principles around the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity and stand with our allies around the world, or whether we're going to admire dictators and send during the height of COVID in the pandemic COVID tests that nobody could get to the president of Russia for his personal use when black people were dying every day by the hundreds during that time.
Yeah, I feel like that one.
Ain't it ironic? Think about this, y'all, for a second. Isn't it ironic how she made sure, pay attention, because nobody is being finessed. And this is why every single day up to the day and after this election, I am going to be very much on top of these things because you need to get it broken down from a C student's perspective. Isn't it ironic that she would not mention black people? That when she was asked in previous interviews in the beginning of her campaign and before, she would avoid every single question that had anything tied to do with black. Are you black? Will you do things for black people? She never had a talking point on how black people was affected. She didn't even accept the invitation from the National Association of Black Journalists before Trump pulled up, and then she showed up a month later. Now, with 21 days, now 20 days left until the election, everything is black of the black, black, black. I got to say things 3 times, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Now you writing whole policies or campaign promises to black people on your website. Now and black people are disproportionately affected. Get the hell out of here, bro. Seriously. And I'm not saying that she should have. I'm saying I'm showing you the chameleon vibes that she is. There is no consistency. And so it makes you look worse when you go back and forth. I'm fracking, I'm no fracking. I'm blacking, I'm no blacking. It makes it bad because we don't even know who you are. But at the very least, whether you disagree or agree with Trump, you know exactly what you're going to get. And we have a sample size of that, 2016 through 2020, exactly how we governed. Everybody is saying that he's going to do all of this stuff, then why he didn't do it the first time? And then you saying you are going to do all of this stuff, but why y'all didn't do it the first time? Now everything for the next 20 days is black on the black hand side. We don't like this side. We only want to go with the black hand side. It's the black of the black. Hey, I like your black gums. I like your black mouse. I like your black desk. I like your black microphone. Black of the black. Now it's disproportionately affecting the black side. What the hell is this? What is this? Now you Bernie Mac. Now it's disproportionately affecting black people. It's only the black people, black side. Girl.
That one has gone over people's heads, the fact that he was sending COVID tests to Putin.
I mean, you know, your listeners, the people we know, the number of people who lost their grandparents and parents.
Here we go.
Remember what that was like during the height of COVID? And a lot of it, people were scrambling for the resources and needed tests. And Donald Trump, during that time, secretly sent...
Always want to talk about Trump, never can talk about themselves. But let's continue.
In the 2016 election, because I was a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee when we investigated it, targeted black voters in 2016 with mis and disinformation to discourage black people from voting in that election. And this is just another of the very many examples of who Donald Trump really is and the danger he presents to real people.
Sending COVID tests to Russia, that doesn't sound very America first at all. But it's not just you versus Trump, it's you versus misinformation.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And one of the biggest...
like the fact that everything that she do on her website is always around Project 2025. Nobody ever fact checks this woman.
Pieces of misinformation. One of the biggest allegations against you is that you targeted and locked up thousands of black men in San Francisco for weed. Some say you did it to boost your career. Some say you did it out of pure hate for black men. Please tell us the facts. What's the facts of that situation?
It's just simply not true. And what public defenders who are around those days will tell you, I was the most progressive prosecutor in California on
crime, getting people out of jail. She was the most, listen, let me tell you what the talking point of this one is, because I've heard all of this too. I was the most progressive. I wanted to make sure that I lowered the consequences of weed and marijuana laws and all of this stuff. Like, we know this. You're the most progressive. You prosecuted transnational gangs. You wanted people to get out for weed all of a sudden now that you got a weed proposal on your website for black men.
Marijuana cases. And would not send people to jail for simple possession of weed. And as vice president, have been a champion for bringing marijuana down on the schedule. So instead of it being ranked up there with heroin, we bring it down. And my pledge is, as president, I will work on decriminalizing it because I know exactly how those laws have been used to
make sure that marginalized communities and black people are affected the most. Is that it?
Disproportionately impact certain populations, and specifically black men.
Mm-hmm.
So black men, I don't even smoke weed. My friends don't smoke trees either. And that's why when you go to Kamala Harris's website, they're telling you that one of their 5 pillars and proposals for black men, this is crazy. It is crazy how tone deaf these people are. And they think that they got the goods for you. They're going to give you the game. They're going to help you to understand how they're going to fix your situation. If you go to Kamala Harris's website, and so you see her issues, the issues that she's doing. Let me pull this up real quick. Issues, Kamala Harris. You go to her website, right? She's talking about the issues that she want to solve for. The opportunity agenda for black men. And she got a whole picture with all of these simps up there, right? And you start to go into it. Number 3, specifically, will deliver for black men and their families One of the things is I'm going to legalize marijuana at the federal level to break down unjust legal barriers that hold black men and other Americans back. Really? Really? Is that what we doing today? Are we really having this conversation? Really? Seriously? I would be offended if I was y'all. But, I mean, I guess y'all all weed smokers. Let's get to it.
Before we get into the talkback feature and take some questions from the audience, I do want to talk to you about the legalization of weed, because you're saying you want to legalize it now. What steps did the Biden administration take to get closer to that reality?
So we had to work with the DEA, and there's a certain level of bureaucracy that exists in the federal government that slows things down. But essentially, to bring down how weed is classified, how marijuana is classified, to make it classified as a lesser harm. Mm-hmm. And so that took some time. There's a whole process around that, but that's the work that we have done. In addition,
of all the things that we could be doing with the federal government, honestly, because this is not even applicable to me. I'm going to just be honest with you. For me and the people that's in my circle in particular, we not worried about getting caught up on weed charges. Dog, that is so 1993. That is so 1993. The last thing that I'm concerned about as one of the pillars to fix the black community, or black men in particular, which I don't even consider myself anything except for a Christian and American first. The last thing that I'm worried about is decriminalization of marijuana to try to make sure that I get an opportunity. You mean all I got to do is stop smoking and I can go and get the job that I want? 6 months clean? And my lips won't be black? Why are they only having this conversation? When she go to a town hall in Pennsylvania, when they're stomping in Arizona, when they're making sure they're reaching out to the people in Ohio, why is not the decriminalization of marijuana at the top of the talking point? But all of a sudden, when black men start to revolt about the fact that they don't want to vote for her based off of the disrespect that Obama and them continue to try to roll out in front of them, now Obama is all about, somehow he off the campaign trail and don't nobody want to talk to Obama no more. Ain't nobody heard from Obama since the weekend. Ain't nobody heard from Obama. Somehow he just disappeared and he went back into his one of his 3 mansions over at Martha's Vineyard or something. Now we start getting conversations about the decriminalization of marijuana. Man, get the hell out of here, bro. This is so dumb, man.
To work that we have done writ large on criminal justice reform.
Okay. Let's take some calls. Let's take some, not calls.
All right. Listen, it's nothing else for me to see here, honestly. There's nothing else for me to see here. I don't even care. This is stupid. It's dumb. It's ignorant. It's disrespectful. I am not interested in doing any more town hall conversation or anything like that personally. I think it's dumb. Y'all think we should listen to a little bit more just for the sake of conversation? All right, let's listen a little bit more.
Oh, let's go to the talkback feature.
My question for Kamala is...
Wait. So that's not a real call. That's just like I told y'all was going to happen. The person started speaking and saying what their question was without even, so this is not a call-in show. This is not authentic. This is not something that people call in and they say, hey, what's your question? All right, you on with Kamala. What do you got to say? There ain't no phone number. It's a talkback feature where they basically take pre-recorded calls from people so that they can send them to her and then she can answer the question according to her comfortability. This is so dumb, man. This is so stupid.
Why are we, and I say we because my tax dollars is sending the money, why are we sending money to other countries when we desperately need it in our own country for homeless, housing, resources, for whatever? That is my determining factor if I vote for Kamala or not.
That's one of the reasons the America First rhetoric resonates, because nobody in America would complain about where money was going if American citizens' everyday needs were being met. So what do you say to that?
We can do it all, and we do. So first of all, I maintain very strongly America should never pull ourselves away from our responsibility as a world leader. And that is in the best interest of our national security and each one of us as Americans and our standing in the world. That being said, we also have an obligation to American citizens, obviously, and people who are here to meet their everyday needs and challenges, which is why, for example, we have done the work in the last 4 years of bringing down the cost of prescription medication, whether it be $35 a month for seniors for insulin or $2,000 a year cap on prescription medication. What we have done that has been about putting $17 billion in our HBCUs. I am proud to be the first HBCU vice president of the United States. I intend to be the first HBCU president of the United States. Those resources are about sending them to centers of academic excellence that I know them to be. The work that I continue to do is about increasing access to capital for our small businesses. It is about increasing the opportunity for home.
Same talking points, bro. Increasing access to capital for small businesses, tax write-offs, home ownership, $25,000, cost of cap of insulin and prescription drug prices, $6,000 for little kids, and the opportunity to be able to remove that little kid if you don't want it within the 6th, 7th, and 8th month. It's the same thing over and over. She is right. Repetition does create a situation where you can spew off the talking points, but if the talking points are stupid, then what difference will it make?
Ownership, knowing that black people are 40% less likely to be homeowners in America. We have a history of legal and procedural obstacles to that home ownership, starting with the fact nobody got 40 acres and a mule, to redlining, to issues that this...
Now she's speaking to black issues. Now black issues is important. Now it's black issues.
Detroit area and people around the country know to be real. So part of my plan is that we're going to give people a $25,000 down payment assistance to get their foot in the door to buy a home for first-time home buyers. The work that I'm going to do to increase housing supply in America, knowing
3 million new homes by the end of your first term. Even though we don't need new homes, we need affordability.
That's one of the reasons that rents and housing prices are jacked up. And to work with the private sector, cut through the red tape, and work to build more housing, 3 million before the end of my first term. And I give these examples, and there are many more which I will offer. So, for example, the work that I will do to extend the child tax credit.
$6,000 so you can buy a stroller, a baby seat, Enfamil formula for... Yeah, did I not predict that she was going to say this? She just remixing it in order to try to make it seem like it's for black people. This is the same things that she's been saying for the whole time. And it's not specific to black people. She is saying these talking points that she will not be able to fulfill. And she's just remixing it and saying that, oh, it's because black people have been historically redlined against and they've had a higher barrier to home ownership. And so what we going to do is we're going to give $25,000 to new home buyers. Not to black people, but to new home buyers. Let me guess, $6,000 for little kids in order to make sure that you can get a new baby seat formula, and then you're going to go into small businesses, community banking, $5,000 to $50,000. Okay, let's see where we're going.
Which I will offer. So, for example, the work that I will do to extend the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families during the first year of their child's life. Because as you and I both know, our families all have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources. So by expanding the child tax credit to the first year of a child's life to $6,000, that gives that young family the ability to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes, the things that are so important during that critical phase of that child's development.
Got it.
So that they can get on the road and actually have a chance at succeeding.
You know, you said we can do it all, but can we? Because, you know, Tupac famously said, you know, we got money for war, but can't feed the poor, right? And I saw President Obama say last week that, you know, you really shouldn't expect, you know, a president to rid the world of all of its problems. And so is it fair to tell people, hey, we can do it all? Because that's when people get disappointed, when things don't happen.
But I think President Obama is absolutely correct, but it doesn't mean we can't do anything.
That's right.
So when I talk about extending the child tax credit, when I was vice president, I pushed that we would do it during our first year. And we reduced black child poverty in America by 50%. We did
From
that.
the child tax credit. Okay, I got you.
We can do that. My plan that is about building up home ownership in the black community. We can do that. My work that has been about increasing access to capital, bringing billions more dollars into our community.
Didn't I just not say that access to capital, community banking, $5,000, $50,000, business owners, first-time business owners? Did I not just say that she was going to figure out a way to plug that in there?
Which I've done as vice president through cooperation and partnership with some of the big banks and tech companies to get more access to capital for our entrepreneurs, for our businesses.
Yep.
We've done that.
Yep.
So we should never sit back and say, okay, I'm not going to vote because everything hasn't been solved. I share a desire that everything should be solved, by the way. I think it is.
Somebody said, I was looking for you in the back end time. Don't. I wasn't invited. I know who was invited, but I wasn't invited. Some people that was invited actually turned down the offer, but I know who was invited and who wasn't invited. I wasn't invited. Trump will be here this weekend, though. I did get an invite to some other stuff. We'll talk about it later.
What we should all want. But that shouldn't stand in the way of us also knowing we can participate in a process that's about improving things. And by voting in this election, you have two choices. Or you don't vote, but you have two choices if you do.
One that wants to bring us together and work on the behalf of the community, and the other one that wants to give police immunity. Is that what she's going to say? I don't know. I have no clue. And
it's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people. And
the other one that wants to give police immunity and wants to cozy up to dictators across the nation like Putin and Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un, and one that wants to take us backwards, right?
In their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
Yeah. Reverend Solomon Kinlock Jr.
Jesus Christ. Other one is about taking us backwards. Right. This is a waste of time. Thought we was going to get something new, but this was probably the worst one that she's done so far because we know that she's pandering. So shout out to the audio town hall for Kamala Harris.